needs to be taken into account way differently than somebody who's playing a civ or a cop or something like that, and that does something and they fuck up, right? Like if you kind of like skirt that line or you kind of step over that line on accident here and there, it just needs to be like, oh, all right, well, look at the circumstances around it. You know what I mean?
Right. Context matters a lot. And
Yeah.
also there's situations where like it sucks, but it's one of those things where there are in fact situations, and they're very hard to explain when they happen, but there are situations where the role play 100% justifies a rule break.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you realize, like, in that moment, if I do this, I'm going to have to justify this in character. I'm going to have to justify this out of character. But 100%, you don't hesitate because it's the thing to do for the sake of role play.
Absolutely.
And you have to do it. And then the thing is, man, sometimes after the fact, it's like, even though, like, I'm, sometimes you realize, you know what, I might get a 3-day for this. But it has to be done, in that moment. And like, you have no, there's moments where you have hesitation. You're like, fuck, I'm going to back off this. But there's those other moments where you're like, I got to do it. Like, so there's exigent circumstances here.
Yeah.
This isn't a normal situation. There's several layers of context here, and
there's a good reason behind what you're doing. But that's what happened.
Experience to navigate that on both sides. And if you have someone who doesn't understand that, and like, well, you just that was power, or you just, it's like, well, okay, technically yes. If you sat there and read out the dictionary definition, right, without any context, sure. But let's talk about the whole. You know what I really wish would just happen, man? Like, honestly, like this type of a situation. I think anytime two people are just beefing, dude, get in a fucking Discord call and just talk it out in public. Why not? Fucking therapy that shit.
Yes, dude.
I'm all about that.
Yes. Because
too many people get caught up in character, dude.
The character bleed is so fucking real. Do you know what the issue is with that too? Is that the amount of misinformation that gets spread on
so quickly from chats and stuff.
Yes, dude.
Like, dude, like I'll gun you down or something, then one motherfucker will come from like my chat over there and be like, oh, like just say something to jab you in the fucking kidney while you're already pissed, and now you think that's coming from me.
Yes, dude.
Like, motherfucking, I hate that shit so much.
But
now all of a sudden that's the narrative for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Me and you were gonna sit there being pissed at each other for 2 weeks because of like what somebody said through a game of telephone. It's like, we should have just fucking got together and talked about it.
It's also like, for me personally, like nothing is ever that deep. I have fucking kids, dude. I've got kids, man. It's like when I leave GTA RP, of course I still think about it and I think about some shit here and there, but it's like I'm not gonna get off and like be fuming or be fucking pissed off about shit. You know what I mean? Like
I dipped out of my peak on NoPixel. The most average viewership I've ever had, the highest sub count I've ever had, literally just walked out of NoPixel because of that exact thing, dude. I'm like, dude, I'm not about to get off work like making my kid's day worse because of this fucking game right now. Like, it's cool, it's fun, but it doesn't matter that fucking, like, I love it and I care about it, but it not to the point where it's going to negatively bleed and impact my like real life day to day. Like, you got to draw a line, and that's the line. But some people though, man, they get to this point where like maybe it's the first time their content's ever gotten traction. Maybe they've cut hours on their job or quit their job altogether.
They don't know how to handle that. You know what I mean?
It's like, can I just stop? Like, you've put yourself in a position where you can't just stop. But I mean, dude, I was like, I knew the moment I walked out on like, I was playing Rod Ottoman Peak NoPixel at the time. I was like, there was just a point that happened where I'm like, dude, like, I know that if I walk away from this, like my literal salary is going to cut in half overnight. But
it's literally, it's not life changing to an extent. It's lifestyle changing to an, you know what I mean? Yeah, I get
the
that
mental
100%.
Improvement afterward was so worth like the huge fall off I had, at least for the time. I needed it. I was too fucking deep in this shit at the time.
But that's what
happened. It's good to have
resets.
Onyx, you can't know life it. If you know life it, you get too deep in it, it just fucking it'll impact your real life way too bad. It's up to every role player to find that line and like draw that line for themselves.
On Onyx, that was another thing that killed the server. It killed my gang. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would be off, right, which would be rare because I rarely take days off. My chat fucking makes fun of me for it, but I mean, as a streamer, you understand why.
I mean, if your store's not open, you're not selling product, right?
Yeah, dude.
Like that's how it is.
And especially in like I still consider myself in like the early stages of this shit. So it's like I'm trying to like, scrounge and get my way.
Well, you don't just have to gain; you have to maintain. You've got two jobs. I mean, as a streamer in general, but specifically in your position, right? You're in a position where it's more serious than a hobby, but it's not like it may not be the we're not neither of us are in mansions or anything, right? But like, you got to maintain what you have.
Yeah,
it's your job.
So for fucking Onyx though, man, like I would be off. I would take a day off, and then I would get a DM from an admin, which I won't name, and they'd be like, "Hey, when you get a second, look at this ticket." And I'd be like, what the fuck is this? So I'd like go and look at it. And then I would be in a ticket for something that happened like a few days prior, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why wasn't this brought up? You know what I mean? Like, while I was on the server, why wasn't this brought up when it happened? And then the realization hit that they were going through VODs and just, scouring.
Just coming through and looking for anything, which is it. That's never going to be a good thing. Like we were saying earlier, that's never, it doesn't, oh, dude. And then you just can't have that mentality.
And it got to the point, like, and also too, you like take into consideration that this is the first time, and being honest and upfront with these people, because I'm a very honest person to a fault. So it's like I'm telling the admin team and everybody, anytime that I would get into a ticket or get into like some type of trouble, I'd be like, hey, look, like straight up, I see it from your point of view. Like I fucked up. Like, sorry, dude. Like this is my first time doing conflict RP. This is my first time doing like gang shit. I could see like where you're coming from, And so it's the first time I'm running a gang, right? And it's brand new to me. And then on top of that too, I'm like trying to keep the morale high for the people in character, but also out of character. Like I'm trying to tell them like, hey man, like, we just got to power through this, it's all good, because they're getting pulled into shit left and right. And then it just got to that point where it's like, what the fuck is going on, man? You know what I mean? Like, what is happening?
I don't know if I've been through, I so many different servers and like role play scenarios and admin teams and stuff. I'm not really sure that anybody's quite figured out how to do discipline correct yet, right? Like there's a weird thing about it, because like, I don't know. I will say this. So far, I've appreciated how Chase has handled the minor things that have come up on my end so far. I don't know what your experience has been, but it's just been, it doesn't feel like, hey, you fucking dumbass.
Right.
Like, what the fuck were you fucking thinking, you fucking idiot? Like, it doesn't feel like that.
I agree.
And when it feels like that, it's like, hold the fuck on, bro. First off, who's even DMing me this right now? Who are you? Like, I'm not even trying to be that guy, but like, hold on. Like, I've been doing this as a fucking full-time job for a decade, dog, and I've never even heard of you before. So hold on, why are you coming at me like that? That's all. I'm not trying to pull that, but it just feels weird when you like, for someone to discipline you, or I guess I don't want to say discipline, but for someone to, the natural thing I feel like psychology-wise is you have to respect the person giving you the criticism to receive it well. If you don't have respect for the person giving you negative criticism, or what you perceive as like, even constructive feedback, people have problems taking that. If I have respect for you, if you're someone who I respect, I'm going to listen to that feedback. I'm not going to take it personal. I'm going to understand you're not coming from a place of like malice and negativity. But if you're like an anonymous name or someone I've never heard of, or I'm not familiar with you and your work and your experience, that's going to fall really short. And if it's coming off as like a negative, authoritative thing, it's going to be received poorly. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you know what really fucking sucks, dude? And I know you've had this feeling before, and I know because it's inevitable. But when you get into a ticket with somebody and they're trying to explain some shit to you, and you're like, that's not how it works.
Yeah. No, dude. Can I almost have to walk you through what happened with me on Wild RP, because I had the best example of that was I got banned on Wild RP, right? I haven't been back since. I was in a gang with Mr. Moon's character. It was Roach, but from the Red Dead Roach. We're in his gang. He had done the context is he had done some extremely serious stuff. Like he was like almost wanted dead type, like they're going to hang him type shit. So the stakes were extremely high. We had been on the run hiding out for like the better part of like maybe like 4 or 5 days straight. They finally catch him on some dumb shit. And there was a whole mess where there was this one sheriff person who out of character was clearly very upset and having a very bad day. And they were like taking it out on everybody in character, if that makes sense. Like sometimes you sense that and you avoid those people.
Absolutely.
There was this, so it's worth noting that there was this one rogue person who happens to also be an admin at the time.
Oh, fuck.
So Roach is in jail, and the gang is outside the jail. And the way it worked in Red Dead is they had to physically transport you in a wagon. So we're in Blackwater.
Which
so
I like
like
that,
really
by the way. I think that's fucking dope.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So what would normally happen, though, normally people wouldn't try it because the risk of doing it and getting caught wasn't worth it unless it was extremely high stakes. Like your guy's going down for like a long
break
time.
You out.
Shit.
Yeah,
break you out.
Okay.
Intercept that. So they'd have to load you up on the wagon and transport you to the boat and then take you from the boat to the prison. And the rules of the server were, once they make it basically to the prison, then it's kind of like they're home free, if that makes sense. Okay. Like you weren't allowed to fuck with the prison out of character rules. Like
no, I get that. Like almost like a green zone situation.
Yeah, but so we had the situation where we kind of figured out this strat that no one had figured out yet. There was these fucking oil wagons from the oil area, whatever the hell. And if you shoot them, they're kind of like the big orange things in GTA. They blow up, right? So I have a bomb. We parked it next to the police station, and we had a guy hogtied sitting on it, a hostage. And the thing we were trying to say was, if you don't let him go, we'll blow this guy up.
Yeah.
I have my gun trained on this guy. I'm gonna go blow him up. Suddenly, a couple people start shooting at us, like some of the deputies. They just start shooting me out of nowhere. It's crazy. So I blow the guy up, and I blow up the police station along with it, whatever. In the scramble of, and then I run away basically because they're shooting at me now. They just opened fire. It was crazy. It had to do with that one person who was short-tempered, kind of pulling the trigger early. But regardless,
I hate that. Yeah.
So they were trying to end it basically. They were like, "This is stupid." They wanted to end it. I was like later on after the fact. But anyway, so I get away. And in the chaos of the explosion and shit, they decide, okay, they're going to move Roach. They're going to move him.
Mm-hmm.
Here's our window. So they load him in a wagon. And out of character, I didn't know this at the time, out of character, they decided to take him the long way, like up north, way up to like Van Horn and stuff, if you're familiar with the map. The normal thing they do is they go down to Saint Denis, the big dock where like the casino boats and shit, and that's where they go. And that's what's expected. But there's two ways they can go. So we had like one guy go to the normal place, and then I went to the secondary place that they might go, and I waited. Now we made it very clear, and I'm sorry this is long, just cut me off.
No, dude. No, I'm enjoying all this shit.
So we made it very clear during the initial like situation, like, yo, we're not gonna stop. Like this, like we are not going to stop until he's either in prison or we have him. Like we made that clear to them. Like this is on. So anyway, shots are already fired. An explosion has already happened. The transport is happening. From very, very far away, I see that they've made it to that secondary small maybe place, that dock, and they get on the boat and they start casting off. And I'm thinking, well, I gotta be honest with you. So out of character, I'm thinking at that moment, like that's kind of lame for Moon because he's, basically that he had this exciting thing that was maybe gonna happen, and it turned into like a 45-minute horse ride to a dock. And then just to prison.
There's like the climax is not there.
There's no climax there at all, right? So I come up over the fucking hill. I can see them on the boat, like going toward the prison. I start firing shots at them, not to kill them, not to try to hurt anybody, right? But for like the nipping at the heels. Like we barely got away.
Yeah.
They're still there. They're still trying, right? Dude, after the fact, like you said, kind of stews. 2 days later, I get pulled into a call, and they're like, "Hey, talk us through what happened there, or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm explaining basically what I just explained to you, and they said, "Yeah, well, look, that was RDM. You're being banned for RDM."
Oh my God,
and I'm like, "Hold on, what?" And they're like, "Well, you see what happened there is, of course, for to kill someone you have to initiate."
Right.
And what happened was when they left the what was it, Blackwater prison, when they left initially and made that travel to the boat, enough time had passed that you needed to reinitiate there, and you didn't reinitiate. So that's RDM, and we're banning you. And I'm like, hold on, I didn't kill anybody.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, how can you RDM someone without the D? Like, there's no, I didn't.